being a woman in fitness is scary. Being a Muslim woman in fitness is terrifying.
We're both Gymshark athletes. I want to ask you about flexing. Do you feel a little bit like left out at times like that, or?
Yeah. When I first started going to the gym, I was actually so anxious that I didn't wear my scarf in the gym.
Where are you at with your training now?
I fell out of love with deadlifting. I had a bunch of hate comments and I was like, is this even worth it? Like, shall I just delete my account? That was a real pinnacle moment for me to think, am I going to stick with this? Am I going to believe in my own message first? Am I going to let these people that I don't even know kind of hurt me? The fitness industry is so much about results. People want to see your muscle flexes, whatever. And then to not do any of that, it's quite daunting.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Gym Girls Locker Room podcast, hosted by me, Sydney Cassidy. Today we have MAYMAH on. If you don't know MAYMAH, she is a social media influencer, Gymshark athlete, and a very good friend of mine. She is a hijabi woman and has overcome quite a lot, has been a massive role model for Muslim women, and I'm just really proud of her. We've had a really lovely conversation. I can't wait for you guys to give it a listen. This is like the perfect episode for anyone that's just trying to really like show up as their like most authentic self, and for anyone that's dealing with judgment or fear of what maybe loved ones would think of them, or, you know, that sort of thing. She's overcome quite a lot, and it was a pleasure to have her on the episode today. I do just want to give a trigger warning. There is a discussion towards the latter end of the episode about her eating disorder. Before we get into the episode, I just want to ask you guys to give us a follow if you are listening on Spotify, or a subscribe if you're listening on Apple or watching on YouTube. It really helps us out in pushing us out to a wider audience, and also means that you guys get to find out when we post a new episode. You can find us at Gym Girls Locker Room on Instagram and Facebook, and I think apart from that, we are ready to get into the episode. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. MAYMAH, hello.
Hi. I feel like I need a cup of tea or something.
Oh my god, we can so get one.
Yeah.
Are you a tea person? Coffee tea?
Bit of both, you know. I like tea for my biscuits because I'm a dunker.
Oh.
I'm impartial to an iced coffee.
An iced?
Iced in the summer. In the winter, I love a latte or a mocha.
I've actually had this like funny turn where I've started getting like really anxious having coffees now. Like, yeah. I pride myself on being a coffee connoisseur, and right now it just gives me like mad palpitations.
That's if I just have the coffee alone and nothing for the rest of the day. So I have to usually have something with it, otherwise it's a wrap for me.
It's a struggle being an adult. There's this thing that I remember you once saying at like one of the events we did, which I feel like is like a perfect introduction to people that don't know you. Do you remember the time you said something? We were like doing a panel talk, and you said something like, you like to lift heavy. Well, do you know what?
Eat burgers, lift heavy, and have fun doing it. Probably something along those lines.
So beautiful like that. Yeah, like for people that don't know you, how do you like to define yourself?
I feel like I like to break stereotypes, with that being a Muslim woman and a woman in general in fitness, because I like to push boundaries when it comes to being in the gym and the activities that I decide to do in the gym, and just enjoy it and make it a positive experience and show people that there is a balance. Just because you're into fitness and you go to the gym, whatever, it doesn't mean that your diet's always going to be 100%, especially if you're not working towards a goal. So there's that kind of balance as well that I like to show people, that not everything is perfect. And with social media as well, it's so easy to just see the good side of everyone's lives. But in reality, it's just not like that.
You are a Muslim woman, and I feel like, do you think that is like a massive sort of anchor point for your content creation that you do?
Yeah, 100%, because majority of my audience are the Muslim women, and there's not a lot of us in the fitness space that kind of show our journeys with that from a cultural perspective as well as like a personal perspective. So I feel like it's really important that there's the more of us the merrier, because it brings awareness and it gives people confidence to see other people like them online.
Totally. I mean, it's funny because you know, even for myself as like a white woman, I feel like growing up I didn't have many like role models by way of like being strong, lifting. So I can't even imagine what it was like. I mean, did you have any?
No, not really. I had to kind of become the woman that I wish was there when I was younger. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I love that. Is that not just the dream? Like,
I know.
I think that's so beautiful.
It's weird when, it's really, really weird thinking about it back then, because when I first started going to the gym, I had like no one to look to for like advice on how to style like my gym outfits in a modest way. I didn't really kind of know what I do. I knew there was other like fitness influencers that were able to give me information on what to do in the gym, but everything else around that, there was kind of nothing.
No. What is your origin story? Like, how did you start going? And yeah, like what was the process, particularly, I imagine, having loads of added barriers, let alone just being a woman. But
so when I first started, I was kind of in that gap between finishing A-levels and starting uni. And I was always one of those girls in high school that had to be with her friends or with a group of people to do stuff. Like I didn't really have that much self-confidence. And at the time as well, my mental health wasn't in the best place. So I was kind of like giving myself an ultimatum, like I need to do this. I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, that's fair enough. But if it does, this could be life-changing. And I remember as well, when I got my first gym membership, I only got it for a week. I didn't commit to the full month because that was too scary. So I only got it for a week and then I started to go. And looking back, at first, it was good because I was able to see the benefits after a couple months and I felt better in myself mentally. But I really hated it sometimes because of how, I think, insecure I was in the way that I dressed and being the only Muslim woman in the gym. And I really struggled with that for the first couple of months. But slowly, when I started posting as well, people were like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And that it's so good to see and it's so inspiring. And then that made me think that maybe there is something a bit deeper to this. So I continued to post and then found my community. And then it kind of all came together. And it's nice because people tell me that I instill confidence in them, but they don't realize that they give me that same confidence to know that they exist and they see my videos and that they take inspiration from it. I feel like it's really wholesome.
Oh my God, no, definitely. How is women in exercise and you thinking like, I'm going to set foot in the gym? What's that like within your community and within your faith, and how's that seen? I
feel like culturally there's a lot of barriers because of all the mentality and like stigma around women in fitness. They're like, there's kind of, if something doesn't make you money or make you more educated, then it's a waste of time. Some people see it as a masculine thing, that women shouldn't be in the gym. Luckily my family aren't like this, but I know that some other people have told me that their families are like saying to them that no one's going to want to marry you if you get too big, or why do you want to go to the gym, you're already skinny. I did this sticker on my stories the other day where I asked people for different stigmas around the gym, and so many people were like saying that, they're going to say that you become infertile, that no one's going to want to marry you and things like that. And it's just ridiculous. And it's sad because a lot of, when you're a kid growing up, you don't want to go against your parents, you don't want to upset anyone, because obviously you're still a child, you can't move yourself away from that physically. I feel like it all came from a lack of education. Personally, for me, it was kind of just like being a Muslim woman in the gym in itself. There was so many times that I was the only one there, and sometimes I still am. And kind of flipping my mindset to thinking that to be a limiting factor and something that would make me feel insecure and like I stick out like a sore thumb, to something that's empowering, and like a statement to say that I'm a Muslim woman, I do wear the hijab and I'm in the gym. Because obviously the fitness industry is so much about results. Like people want to see your glute gains, people want to like see your muscle flexes, whatever. And then to not do any of that and like not show your skin in a place where majority of people show their skin, it's quite daunting, because it's like, why are you even here? But then I feel like over the years, people have become really educated towards mental benefits of working out. So slowly, it's become less daunting. And like the whole thing about pump covers, like not everyone, like there's so much more flex and so much more range in the way that people choose to express themselves in the gym. And I feel like with that emerging, it's helped a lot of people that may not want to show their skin kind of come out of their shell a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Okay. There's like so many places I want to go with this. First off, I wonder, do you feel like that kind of like lack of education, or so I'm thinking you're a child, you're a Muslim child. I feel like for anyone growing up, when you grow up, your parents, like your parents tell you is your truth. Like that to you is like the, how am I trying to say, like that is the truth, right? Of like whatever it is. And I wonder, like, do you think that that's why there's such a like lack of like women in the space, because they hear like these wild things and I guess they don't have anyone questioning that? Or
I feel like it's a generational thing as well, because if your mum's been brought up a certain way to think those things, she's not obviously deviated from that path to figure out that's not the truth. So then you're built up trying to be told that same truth, and then if you don't kind of break the chain, you're never going to know.
No, definitely. So how have you found like the whole trying to dress modestly? First off, what does that, to people that are listening that don't know, myself included, like what is the extent of that? There's varying degrees, isn't there?
Yeah. So like being a Muslim woman would mean that you'd try to wear hijab. Now, hijab isn't just the way that you dress, it's the way that you act as well, the way you carry yourself. There's all these different factors to it. So it's the way that you speak to people, it's the way that you carry yourself, it's the way that you treat others and things like that. But when it comes to the clothing side of it, it's kind of, there is a spectrum, because there's like the not extreme, but the other side of the spectrum, which would be like a full, like basically like a black maxi dress and like a big like a scarf on. And then there's like varying degrees of that, obviously, because people are striving towards that. It can be quite a big jump to go from nothing to 100 in like a day. So I feel like people kind of work their way up, or try to at least. So for me, the way I see modesty, it's just covering myself in a way that you're not really able to see what's underneath, you know? So like I tend to go for like oversized stuff all the time, like big t-shirts, just stuff that doesn't make me feel, how do I say this? So stuff that doesn't make me feel like I'm uncomfortable or that my shape is showing when I'm in the gym.
Yeah, so is it about silhouette, like making sure you're kind of obscuring that and that's not shown? Okay. And how do you feel the sort of experience has been over the years? I imagine it's probably changed quite a lot, as I feel like there's been a lot more sort of variation with gym silhouettes and that sort of thing. Yeah. How have you found that?
And like when I first started going to the gym, I was actually so anxious that I didn't wear my scarf in the gym. It was really weird. I used to wear my scarf outside the gym, but inside the gym I was so scared and so anxious. I felt like there was a bullseye on me if I had my hijab on in the gym. So I used to find other ways of covering my hair, so like with a cap and a hood, or just like a hood, something like that, instead of actually wearing a headscarf, because the thought of it used to terrify me. When I gained the confidence though, like I was quite small at that time. So I used to be able to get away with like wearing like long vest tops, and like I used to wear leggings as well when I first started going to the gym. And then slowly I kind of learned more about the hijab and what it truly meant. So then I grew closer to that. So then I tried other ways of styling. So like I switched from leggings to joggers, and then like oversized t-shirts and stuff like that, and just trying different styles till I've kind of found what I like.
What would you say to someone that's listening right now that they don't even need to be Muslim, maybe they just like have always felt sort of that gym culture kind of makes them feel like they need to show skin, when maybe actually they are like, maybe I will dress a little bit more modestly. Like, what would you say for, people that want to do that maybe don't feel like they have the confidence to, particularly with like wearing a hijab and that sort of thing?
I feel like experiment, find what works for you. Just because it works for someone else doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Do it in colours that make you feel happy and like styles that make you feel good. Do small steps as well, because again, making changes really quick can be quite daunting. So like change up maybe a crop top for like an oversized tee, try like some new joggers, and like getting yourself new items as well, and not wearing them anywhere apart from in the gym. Because I feel like if you start using like wearing your pajama bottoms or like your pajama joggers in the gym, it's kind of like you feel like you're not really making an effort, so then you feel kind of less confident sometimes. So maybe experiment in that way as well. And everyone's in the gym for their own purpose. No one's looking at you, I promise.
Yeah, even though it feels like you've got this massive bullseye, they really aren't. It's so funny when you do grow in confidence, you realise, damn, everyone is so concerned with themselves.
Yeah.
And
no one cares. In the best way possible.
Yeah, like in the most beautiful way. Obviously, we're both Gymshark athletes, and a lot of like our job will be being at shoots and posing and wearing certain clothing and that sort of thing. And I feel like I always, you know, because we are friends, like I always kind of look out for you in those moments where like I can see that you, I don't know what you'd label it as, like whether it's a discomfort or what, but I want to ask you about flexing and all that sort of thing. Like, do you feel a little bit like left out at times like that? Or
yeah, like sometimes if it's like the vibe for the shoot is like muscles and aesthetic and strong women, and then I just kind of feel kind of useless, can't lie, because I'm just like there like I'm an undercover tank, guys. I promise I've got muscles underneath this t-shirt, but I cannot take it off right now.
You're gonna have to believe me.
Yeah, okay? If we could do like a changing room shoot where the photos go nowhere, that would be great. But right now this t-shirt's not coming off. Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable when you don't really feel like you fit the vibe of everyone else. But then I feel like there's different ways of showing your strength. So like when we did that deadlift photo with everyone, and it was kind of like, even though you can't see my muscles, that doesn't mean that I don't have any. And I feel like that message is so strong in situations like that, because when you see a photo with all girls flexing and stuff, if I was a modest person and I saw that, it wouldn't really instill any confidence in me, because I'll be like, well, I don't really know what I look like in the gym if I even look like that. But if you start to integrate people who may not fit that same aesthetic, it can kind of cater to peoples of different backgrounds.
Yeah. What's been like the importance of like community for you along your journey?
So important. It's so nice to be able to have a group of people that understand the struggles that you go through. So like a bad hijab day, that might mean nothing to you, but it means
absolutely nothing.
It'll mean so much to some other girls. Or complaining about not being able to find like the right pump cover, or just not feeling confident in myself and my hijab like on a certain day, and then that resonates with a lot of other people, and I feel like it really personifies you as a presence on social media, because obviously with socials you only see one side of a person, and it's quite difficult to get to know them on a human level. So when I start to vent or ask people about these issues, they're like, oh yeah, I go through the exact same thing. And as well with like being on my period and like self-confidence issues, especially as a hijabi woman, because we don't show our skin, our self-confidence can kind of fluctuate quite a lot, especially for me in the gym, because sometimes I feel like, damn, I wish I could take this t-shirt off right now because I want to know what my pump looks like, but I can't. And it's like, it can be quite frustrating sometimes, but to know that other people go through that same thing, it makes you feel a bit more less alone.
Yeah, you almost like, as a non-wearing, like, how do I say it? Non-hijab wearing woman?
Yeah.
A non-Muslim woman. You know, you wonder, like, you don't even consider these things. And I remember one time it was the heat of summer, and we were with the brand doing a what even was it, like a high rocks?
Yeah, basically
sort of simulation.
They just threw us into it. Yeah.
And like, that was really interesting. That was something I hadn't even considered. Like, you know, everyone's stripped down to like minimal layers because it was absolutely sweltering, but you didn't have that option. And like, that's just something that like, I guess I wouldn't consider because I don't experience that. Yeah, like, what do you do in summer?
Yeah, sometimes summer is really hard.
I can imagine.
This is the thing as well. You have to find ways of styling yourself through all seasons. So thinner layers, but also layers that aren't so thin that they're see-through, or like that they like. There's so many other things you have to worry about as well, like layers coming up and like showing skin or whatever. Like wearing the right track like right bottoms so that you don't start getting chafing or whatever. There's just so many different factors to it. So like high rocks or CrossFit isn't something that I'd usually do because of how much moving there is, because I don't want to accidentally show anything, but I also want to be truly focused in the workout. So unless it was like in a women's only facility, I wouldn't really do it.
Okay, so do you find like, would we say it holds you back in ways, or is it just you don't feel comfortable doing certain exercise? Like,
I feel like it doesn't really hold me back. It because I'm anxious, it's going to detract from what I'm actually trying to do, because I'll be thinking about, oh my God, all these layers. Oh my God, am I going to start sweating? Like, am I going to be able to get through this workout, or am I just going to end up sweating my head off and getting dehydrated, whatever? I feel like there are workarounds. So if I wore like a different type of hijab, or if I like got specific bottoms for that type of workout or something like that, then I think I'd be able to do it. But with that day, we weren't briefed, we weren't told that we were going to be doing that. So then I wasn't able to dress appropriately for the occasion. Obviously for everyone else, it was just like, bring your favourite sports, bring your shorts, bring your favourite like sports bra, whatever. And then for me, it was like, okay, I've got these thick ass joggers on. I had like, I think I was wearing like a Vital Seamless, like a thick t-shirt on. And I was like, you guys, you should have briefed me a bit better, because I would have been a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. Is that something that you've come into many runnings with, like brands and within the industry, with like catering towards your need? Is it something that's like overlooked, or are they pretty good?
Sometimes I feel like it's not overlooked. It's just that they're just unaware, and it's just like a lack of education. So then it's like, it like brings up the conversation. So I'd be like, oh, I might not be able to make this event because I'm fasting. They'd be like, oh, why is that? And then I'd be like, oh, because it's Ramadan. And they'd be like, oh, right, okay, yeah. And then like the conversation sparks from there. So sometimes I feel like it's just not ignorance from the people that I've spoken with, it's just lack of education.
Ignorance almost, I mean, because I feel ignorant to things just because I don't, I'm just not aware. Do you feel like people kind of do people shy away from asking certain questions? Almost like a taboo, but like not, you know what I mean? Like between different cultures.
Yeah, I feel like people sometimes, I don't know if it comes from a place of fear or if they just don't want to offend me, but I feel like I'm quite open, and I understand that if you're not brought up around around other Muslims, or if you're not part of that kind of social circle, you're never going to know unless you speak to one or speak to someone about it or educate yourself. So I'm pretty open to answering questions, and even like on my platforms and stuff, sometimes I get questions like, what is Ramadan, like what even is a hijab and stuff like that, and I'll answer them and not do it in a sarcastic way, because it comes from a genuine place. People aren't doing it because they're trying to take the mick. People genuinely just don't know, and that's fine. It's not a bad thing to not know. I think it's a bad thing to be able to be given the opportunity to ask questions and educate yourself and miss it, because you feel like you just don't care enough.
That's where like I can so see that to young girls, like young Muslim girls, like it must be so helpful to be able to have social media now. Like those little things like, oh, you know, in the summer, what do I wear? What materials are like preferential? What like can I? Is there quite a how do they say it? Like, is there quite a good sort of spread of Muslim women across like all sports now? Like I know that I've definitely even myself like noticed there's like a much stronger presence within like the gym community. Does it seem that way for sports as a whole? Yeah,
like the other day I was just scrolling and I came across this Muslim MMA fighter, like mixed martial arts from Russia or something, and I was like, that is insane. That's the first lady Muslim woman that I've ever seen in MMA, and it was amazing.
So what did that look like?
So I think she was actually like in a professional fight as well with someone else, which was really, really interesting.
And was she dressed modestly?
Yeah, so she had like compression leggings on, then shorts and like a t-shirt, and then she had like a one-piece headscarf on. And I was like, that is so crazy. I want to be you.
That is so wild. Cool. I love that.
I've seen everything apart from swimming, because obviously you have to have like your hair out or like a cap on, but it wouldn't really work the same way.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's amazing. I think a reason why we've kind of been at maybe perhaps so many things together, like brand wise and whatever, is because I feel like we have quite aligned beliefs towards like women in fitness. And just because I'm not a Muslim woman and I don't dress modestly, I still really at like my core believe in something that I believe you also do, that like there's so much more to sort of the world of fitness and empowerment as a woman, you know, like strength and just like how it makes you feel and all those sorts of things. And I just wondered if you could talk about like what strength training, because did you start doing strength training? Yeah, so like same with me, like what did strength training do for you, especially like within your sort of like niche you're in, you know, like.
Yeah, I always tell people that being a woman in fitness is scary. Being a Muslim woman in fitness is terrifying. And starting off with something that before was seen as masculine and quite dominating, you know, strength training, it was really, really scary at first. But then you kind of have to flip your mindset to think that this isn't something that's going to make me stand out. It's making me feel empowered. This is giving me confidence, and I feel so good when I'm doing it. And over time as well, when you work towards your goals and it's like you start to achieve them and get stronger and get better and you feel so good in yourself and you're like, yeah, I'm a woman, I've got muscles. What about it? Like, what about it? I feel so good in myself, and that's all that matters. And strength training as well, for me, it showed me what dedication to working towards a goal can really do for you. Because even though every day might not be 100%, even though every PR attempt might not happen, if you still continue to work towards it, it will happen because of all the work that you put in.
Yeah, definitely. Where are you at with your training now?
Right now, I'm kind of just vibing. I gave up. Not gave up, but I fell out of love with deadlifting. I just completely fell off the wagon. I was like, because it's just so mentally exhausting. Every week having to hype myself up for this. And obviously the stronger you get, the more tiring it is. And it's like, it takes me an hour minimum to do them. And I was like, I want to do something else, because I've been doing them for 2 years. And I'm like, there's other goals that I want to achieve. I've been wanting to pull up for so long. And then I just switched completely. So I stopped doing that. And then I started doing more like bodyweight stuff. Got my pull up. Felt gassed.
Slay.
Such an empowering moment. And now I'm like, okay, maybe do I want to go back to deadlifts? And I'm like, oh, I'm 25 now. Am I really built for that? You know, I'm a bit old now.
Oh, yeah, you're always built for it. I remember someone saying, like, I think it was like my gym bros that like I used to train with, when I was doing like a lot of like powerlifting. I'm just like, it's just heavy. And they're like, Sid, you've reached a point now where like every set is going to be heavy. Yeah. So you just need to push through it and keep going. And I'm like, I don't want to know. Like, but yeah, I've been exactly the same, because it's so funny. We've been quite aligned on a lot of our journey, like even down to us both PRing the same
Should have gone for 180 that day. We didn't have time.
I know. I don't think I'll ever get back up there. And then it's like the fact that, like, you know, there's me in my feels, like, I'm just like, I've fallen out of love with powerlifting. And then I find Maymah's literally doing the same. But yeah, no, that was just like, yeah, it's so funny.
But like, I don't see it as a bad thing, because there's so many different avenues within fitness and like bodybuilding. There's so many different goals that you can work towards. This one can take a backseat for a while, because it's been at the forefront of what I've been doing basically for the past 3 years. I think it's time to let like other goals start to get achieved.
Yeah, and it's just fun. Like, I think you're sort of similar, like, to how a lot of us are, that like we do want to enjoy ourselves, and I think it's just fun to learn.
Yeah.
And to just see where it goes. So what does like a normal training session look like for you? What's like your split? And
so I do 2 lower body days a week and 2 upper body days a week. With work and stuff, I kind of just fit them in where I can. Now, every session, apart from the days that I deadlift, if I can't be bothered, I'll start off with pull-ups, because I really want to get good at them. So I've started, not forcing myself, but started consciously integrating that into every single session, so then I don't forget to do them. Because I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll do them at the end of the workout. You're not going to do them at the end of the workout.
You're fatigued by then as well.
It's time to
it's
go
just
home.
like, set yourself up to win.
Literally, not doing that. So I do it at the start. Things that I'm focusing on right now are like hack squat. I really, really want to get a 3-plate hack squat, so I'm working towards that. Started training glutes again. I fell out of love with training glutes. I just couldn't do it anymore again.
Just so aligned.
It was just so tiring, like setting up for glute bridges and the DOMs. I was just over it. But But now I'm like, okay, let's reignite that fire. So we'll start doing that again. And upper body wise, actually training my upper body, because I haven't, well, when I first started my gym journey, I believed everything that was on the internet. So I thought that I'm going to get too big if I start training upper body. So until about October-ish last year, I never used to do any chest exercises or anything like that. So now I've actually started doing them. I flipping love it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, such an empowering feeling.
Once you switch over to doing upper body, you're just like, how is this not a thing that women do?
Yeah. Why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you love training shoulders? I adore.
I'm really into chest workouts right now. Okay. Chest and tris and arms in general. Shoulders,
Okay, that's fine. You know what though? I think perhaps maybe that is like because you do dress modestly. Like if I'm thinking about it, like actually, I've thought of a really good question. How do you, like bouncing off what I was just saying, how do you find like that whole like my muscle connection, like with dressing modestly? Is that something you've actually like struggled with, or no?
Yeah, sometimes it's when you only see yourself in baggy clothes in the gym, you don't really know what you look like, so it's quite hard to visualize what your end goal is. But I have started consciously like seeing what my pump looks like afterwards and like doing like body checks and stuff, because if I went so long without doing it that I didn't know what I looked like for such a long amount of time. I didn't know like what my back muscles looked like because I never used to flex. I never used to even know what they look like in motion and stuff. So I've started consciously doing that and visualizing the muscle in my mind or what I want to look like when I'm doing my set. I feel like that's really, really helped quite a lot. And just visualizing the end goal as well.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a thing about, there was a study, and I can't give you guys any more details on that.
There was a study,
and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but we'll go there. This is why we actually miss Ellis when we don't have her.
I love that study.
Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about. But there's a study when they got like a group of like participants, and then they got another group. One group were like really visualizing, thinking through that movement, and the other group weren't, and they were doing the same workouts. And the group that were visualizing were really thinking about that mind muscle connection, had like miles better gains. They were doing the same exercises, and it's just like there's so much like power there with mind muscle connection.
Because my socials as well, I follow a lot of bodybuilders, so I see like what they look like when they're working out, and then I start thinking about that in my head, but with me. So I want huge quads. I want to see the lines in my legs. Yeah.
Exactly.
That fat pump.
Even just like being more educated with the actual muscle itself means maybe you don't need to look at it.
I feel like as long as you have an image of sorts in your head and you're thinking about growing that or using that particular muscle throughout an exercise, it helps.
Yeah, definitely. So for people that don't know, you work as
a medical dosimetrist.
Yeah, that's number one. I know that so well. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, so for people that have cancer and have radiotherapy, I plan their treatment. So I did my degree in radiotherapy and oncology, so I actually used to work as a radiographer, which means I used to give them the treatment. So now I've kind of gone behind the scenes and I plan the treatment.
How do you do shift work for that?
No, it's fixed.
How do you balance like training with just like working, and do you feel like you're in quite a good flow with that? Yeah,
I feel like because luckily for me it's like a 1 day work from home, so I'm able to kind of fit my workouts in around that. And I understand as well, like people with 9-to-5s, how hard it is to integrate fitness.
I know.
After work, it's so tiring as well, because you have to think about your sleep as well and get that in check, your meals as well, because if you're having lunch at 12 or 1 or whatever, 5 o'clock you're going to be starving and then you've got a session to do. It's a lot of mental endurance that goes into achieving your fitness goals if you have like a full-time job. So I kind of just see what my working from home day is, and I bash gym the day before, so then I'm sore but I'll be at home so I don't have to move.
So do you experience a lot of DOMs?
Yeah, sometimes yeah, 9 times out of 10 I do. I feel like I get more DOMs with muscles that I haven't been training as often, so chest and my arms, because I never used to push toward like to my limit with those muscle groups until recently. So now I've started to get DOMs. But for like sessions like back, I don't really get major DOMs because I'm just so hench. But
also, DOMs, for anyone that doesn't know, is like, you know, that like really sore pain you get after you've been training. Also, I hear so many people saying like, oh my God, I've got the worst pain. Like, don't worry if you're a beginner, it does go. It isn't something that stays around for ages. It's just because whenever you switch up or you're new to an exercise, it just kills.
It reignites a muscle that you didn't even know you thought you had.
Yeah, you're walking up the stairs like,
and then you just nosedive down the stairs instead of walking.
Literally. So is consistency something that like you really struggle with or not really?
Sometimes, yeah, because it's like if you've had crap sleep the night before work and then you finish work and you're just like, you know what, sack it, I'm not going. Because sometimes you just know as like in yourself, if you've had crap sleep and rubbish diet, you know your session's not going to go as well as you want it to. Sometimes pre-workout can't fix everything. So it can be a bit difficult sometimes if I'm stressed out about other factors in life and then everything else is kind of impacted by that. But then sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm tired, but I can survive. It's kind of like figuring out when to push through and when you actually need to give yourself a break.
What do you do for like respite and downtime and stuff like that? Are you good with that?
I really like sitting in silence. I just really love quiet time. I'll get like true crime documentaries on.
Oh yeah,
love those. And I'll either just like chill out and just watch the documentary and just like snack. I like snacking. Or I'll do some like Lego or something that completely detaches my mind.
I see you playing Lego. Well, do you say playing Lego? I don't know, like maybe building. I see you building. Yeah, I really want to get on that.
Yeah.
What's your Lego of choice?
You know what? I used to bash doing like branded Lego kits. And then I bought this one set from like,
don't say.
It's boot Lego. It's not real Lego. It's like bootleg. Okay.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say TikTok shop then.
No,
Lego. I love that.
And the pieces are like minuscule, like the size of like my little fingernail. And it's so much harder, but I love the challenge because I felt like normal Lego was too easy because it just gives you step-by-step instructions.
Yeah.
Everything's segregated into stages. I thought it was really, really easy as long as you just know how to follow instructions.
Oh, I love that.
So I've started doing that one and it's so hard.
Oh my gosh, no. I actually really want to do that.
I'll send you some links.
Please. Where do people get it from?
You're going to get frustrated.
Oh God.
Like, I didn't touch it for like 6 months last year because I just couldn't do it.
I don't have great patience.
Yeah, maybe start off with some actual Lego first.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I got Ellis the flowers one.
That's cute, yeah.
Yeah. And my friends are like obsessed with it. Like
there's like a treehouse one that I really want. There's a Nintendo one as well. Like the TV actually like changes scenes, like the Mario one. That's awesome.
I really wanted it's like a really cheap low-key one. But like they do like a camper van one.
Yeah.
I just really
that's
want
cute.
That.
I like that one.
Cute. You have always struck me as someone who's like very just like self-assured. I think that was quite like obvious from the first time we met and like throughout. Is that something that you have just like innately always just had within you, or is that something you've worked on? Like
that is something that I've worked on for a long time. Before gym, before socials, I was the most anxious, awkward person ever. I used to be so socially awkward that like just before my fitness journey, if the phone rang, I used to like pretend that I was deaf so that I didn't have to answer it because it set me off that much.
Pretending to who?
To like, it was like when I was on work placement, I remember like, you know, when you have to get experience. I'm not answering that phone. What are they going to tell me?
You just wouldn't think that looking at you, like, or like knowing you, you know? Like,
yeah, no, I was so bad. I couldn't even make eye contact with people.
That's so
it's just awful, yeah. And then throughout the years, I feel like I've been through certain experiences that have really helped me become self-assured, like hate comments. sometimes when you do like a one-off collab post or something and it doesn't go down the way that you thought it would, or you just see a few comments and you're just like, why would you even think that? They're so far removed from the actual message of the video. So how did you even come to this conclusion? But reading them and thinking, you know what, my social circle support me, my family support me, I'm not hurting anybody, and I'm feeling happy and I feel confident, and I'm so sorry that my existence offends you and upsets you that much that you have to, you know, type something out on a keyboard to make yourself feel better and like you've achieved something. And it just, I feel like now hate comments kind of just make me laugh. They're a humor point for me, because it's like, why am I triggering you so much that you feel like you have to lash out, you know, otherwise you're gonna have some sort of internal breakdown. But before, they used to really, really upset me. I remember the first time I was ever down to shoot with Gymshark, it was the day before I was going to go to the lifting club to do like a podcast segment and the actual like major shoot, and I had a bunch of hate comments. I was like, is this even worth it? Like, shall I just delete my account? I don't see the point in this anymore. And it was really, really shook me. And I think that was a real pinnacle moment for me to think, am I going to stick with this? Am I going to believe in my own message first before I put one out there? Am I going to let these people that I don't even know kind of hurt me? So I kind of I went to the shoot anyway, and then that whole day I was kind of feeling a bit off. And then when I got back and I reflected on what I'd just done, I was like, I've just done a shoot with like one of the biggest fitness companies in the UK. And you think that some little shitty comment is going to make me feel bad? No.
Do you deal with that quite, and has like hate comments been quite a big part of like your sort of existence within the social media space?
I feel like, yeah, because it used to be such a rare thing for people to see, and because it was so different to them, the only way that they could respond was negatively, because they didn't know like what I was about. And I don't get them a lot now. It's just the odd, you know, video, whatever, that goes viral or whatever on whichever platform actually. But it's just, I feel like it comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of, again, lack of education, and it comes from a place of just being brought up a certain way to believe only and to think in only one direction, so that you can't see, you can't mentally open your mind up to other possibilities of like it sounds so stupid, literally just a Muslim woman in the gym and you're being triggered by that. It's just insane to me.
It's like, I always feel that like what I try to tell myself is like, those hate comments are just a reflection on themselves. They're nothing about you. They really aren't. It's actually just saying a ton more about them than it is you. Have you ever like encountered anything within the gym space that's been like hateful or anything, or is it largely quite a positive sort of, when you actually got out of your own head thinking everyone was looking or whatever, is it actually like, you know what, no, nothing?
Sometimes you're like, oh, why is this person like giving me side eye or whatever in the gym? And then a funny thing that happened to me actually is that someone was doing that to me and I was aware of it, but I didn't really care at the time. And then they came up to me and they're like, oh my God, you're so strong, I've never seen that before, I think you're the first girl in this gym to even do that. I was like, wow, thank you for supporting me and not being mean. Like it was such a nice wholesome moment. It's like, not everyone, even though you might get hate comments and then you might want to generalize a certain group of people, not everyone is like that. Especially in real life as well, you'll find that you have more positive interactions in the gym, because again, the gym is a place where everyone's there to work on themselves. No one's got any place to judge you in the gym. Even if you're like day 1 gym goer or day 500, it doesn't matter, because we all started from the same point. And I feel like it's an environment where everyone's working on themselves mentally, physically, and we all just want each other to do better. So that's why like in the gym, whenever you see like someone doing a PR, you're probably like silently cheering them on in your head, or you're like, yeah, go on. But you might not have the confidence to go up to them, or you might not even speak to them, but we're all working towards something. And when you remember that core message about being in the gym, it just makes it such a more positive and wholesome experience when you're there.
As you are the deadlift queen.
We were deadlift queens. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Hey, we've moved, we've grown, we've evolved. We could be back.
Oh yeah, I just decided to give everyone else a chance to catch up before
Completely. By the time there's the next UK lift, we'll be back on the grind. We're just, diverging a little bit. She's doing a bit of CrossFit. She's doing a bit of calisthenics. What tips would you give for people that are looking to improve their deadlifts?
I feel like first and foremost is don't exhaust yourself with chasing numbers.
So fair.
Yeah. They're going to come naturally. They're going to come on a good day. You might not even want to deadlift that day. You might not even have them down for that day. And you're like, you know what? I feel like deadlifting today. And then you get a PR. Don't build up a lot of mental hype around deadlift day. I used to do this so much. And I used to take 2 scoops of pre-workout, dry scoop, used to get really, really in the gym, super high energy. And then sometimes it might not used to work out, or the session used to go bad, and they just be like, oh my God, why has that happened? Everything was on point, whatever. There's so many different external factors like your sleep, your diet, how you're feeling mentally as well. Lifting is such a mental game. If you even let the thought of you failing come into your head, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably already lost by that point. So you need to really go into it with laser focus and enjoy it. Failure is part of the progress. And it's part of the journey to success. You're not going to pass with flying colours every time. You're not going to get every single PR you might set out to, but that's okay. And don't exhaust yourself with it. I only used to deadlift once a week. And people used to think that I used to deadlift every other day. No, once a week. And don't put pressure on yourself. Some pressure is good pressure, because then that drives your ambition and your kind of desire to reach your goals. But don't get so overhyped about it, especially if you're not training for a competition, or there's no deadline to what you're working towards. Chill out. Enjoy it.
I feel like becoming sort of friends with failure is such a important part of anyone's sort of fitness journey. Just realizing that failure is such an integral part of your journey. And I think I used to take it so personally. I used to take it so personally, especially if you're someone who's quite either a perfectionist or you're quite driven. You're like, oh my God,
why?
Yeah.
Why is it not working?
But it's actually, so important. And, the people that are the most successful they're only really there because they've passed through so much failure and they've sort of come out the other side. Oh, Goose wants some attention. Was there anything you wanted to discuss?
Just talking about life outside the gym.
Oh my God, please.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah. And
what have you got going?
No, just in general, food, having a good time and not feeling bad.
Oh my God, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fine, yeah.
Over the last year, I made new friends, and our only way of socializing was by going out to eat. That's amazing, because we're all gym rats, but every time we saw each other, we used to eat. And I'm not talking a little snack. We used to eat
How did you meet them?
On socials. And then we only really started meeting in person last year. And at the time as well, I was going through something that kind of really hurt me or put me down mentally. So I was using them not as a support system, but those kind of days really helped me feel better.
Yeah.
But it was all about food. And then I put on 5 kg in 2 months. I didn't actually realize until I'd actually put it on, because I don't routinely weigh myself. That's one thing that I just don't do. I kind of just go by what my body looks like. And then I started realizing that things weren't fitting. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I like this weight? Do I not like this weight? And I was like, okay, might try and go on a cut. So that happened. And then...
Can I just add in? I think it's interesting how you worded it. I don't know if this was relevant to you, but this kind of thing of just because you've added weight doesn't actually mean it's necessarily a bad thing. It's actually, let me just take note how I'm feeling with this, how am I having it? How am I feeling? How's it looking? And then let me decide if it's a good or bad. Actually, you know what? It doesn't even need to be good or bad. Maybe it's just something that you... How did you feel? Do you feel...
I was glad, because obviously I got more muscle. But I was also am I really used to seeing myself like this?
And was this just from sort of overindulging?
Yeah.
So just eating surplus?
Yeah. I was like, you know what? There's no such thing as being good. I'm going to eat what I want, when I want, how much of it. For too long, though. And in the end, I was like, you know what? I actually fancy a cut, because I haven't done one since I've started my fitness journey, which is surprising to a lot of people because before I started my journey, I used to suffer with anorexia, but it's not the primary reason as to why I got into fitness. So previously I have suffered from it. So I've never had to go on a weight loss kind of journey since then. So the idea of a cut to me is quite triggering. So I'd not actually tried to even think about cutting. I was all about that bulk life. I was like, I'm going to get huge. And I was so good because mentally I'd trained myself to start like celebrating myself when I'd gone up a dress size. Because I was like, you know what, this is a step away from who I used to be. So I used to kind of forget about old me. So going into this new cut, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to mentally really just stay on the right track. And I've been taking it really slow. So I haven't done a major cut, but I have done a cut. And it's not been as bad or as mentally damaging as I thought it would, which was really good.
Well, do you mind talking about your past? So I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because it's not the primary reason or one of the factors as to why I started going to the gym. I don't really talk about it.
Yeah, and I think something that Anna said is like, because I said the same to her, I don't even really see that within even her sort of content or whatever, you know, I don't see that that's part of her. I don't see that that's part of you. And she kind of said, well, that's because I've recovered and I'm beyond that and like whatever. And so I wonder if it's the same for you. Like, are you able to look back with hindsight and reflect and think that's why do you know at its core what it was about for you? Like why you did have an eating disorder?
I feel like it was just because everything came at once for me. Like I was depressed, my anxiety stemmed from that, and then anorexia at the same time. So it was like I was getting punched up by 3 people at the same time, and it was like a downward spiral. And I don't know if it wasn't really the control thing for me. It was just the depression was so bad. I was happy that I was punishing myself. It sounds so bad, but I feel like that was it. Not the control factor, just being really bad to myself. Which is why I'm so passionate about fitness and treating yourself right and doing things that make you happy because life is too short. Literally, because I could have not been here anymore if I continued with that. So it's really important to kind of not learn from these experiences, but kind of think about how much you've changed and how much that's a good thing. Like for me now, fitness isn't about, I need to recover from my anorexia. Like I don't think about it all the time, but I think about it in a way when I've gained weight or when I'm getting bigger. Like it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And I'm happy that I'm healthy and I'm here and I'm not part of that, but not suffering with that anymore.
Do you think that kind of what you grew up with or maybe some like stereotypes either within society or within your culture had an effect on you, or was it just like
I feel like
more the sort of depression?
Just being a teenage girl in those years, what year was it? I can't remember, like 2013, 2012. And like I used to read a lot of Vogue, and I remember just seeing like the way that they looked and stuff and just wanting to be that. Because I used to think that was better. That was the standard. I think social media wasn't as major then, but I remember having like an account where I used to look at like Thinspo and stuff. But I don't really feel... And I used to go to an all-girls school as well.
There was a lot... I feel like there was particularly our generation, there was like a lot of misinformation within like what we were consuming on the internet at that time. And I can imagine for a really impressionable, I mean, I've had not an eating disorder, but I've had disordered eating for sure. You know, it's only when I reflected with Ellis in a conversation, she was like, damn Sid, that's not normal. And so a product of like what we were growing up with.
Like I've seen a couple of videos online where people have been posting news articles or celebrity diet regimes from back in the day when we were younger, and how wrong they are. Like they're glamorizing a 1,200 calorie diet for a grown woman. And they're talking about fitness regimes, and it's all abs. Or it's all cardio, all toning workouts. Like, I know that was the thing.
I feel like we're still dealing with like the repercussions of that, like this like spot reducing fat.
Yeah.
Can I get rid of my hip dips?
Oh my god, yeah.
but I feel like we've made good progress for sure. So what was recovery like, and was that something that you actually just managed to work through yourself, or did you have support?
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it came to a point where I could either continue down. I was like, again, I had to think of future me and think about me now. And I was like, I could continue spiraling down this really negative path, or I could start to take small steps to becoming better. It took a long time. I feel like physically it was easier because you just eat more, but mentally, to get rid of that voice in your head and to get rid of all the constant counting and like the ways that you used to eat. Like I used to cut my food up into really small pieces. Then I used to feel full quicker because I'd be eating more, in a sense. So getting rid of all those little habits and all those ways of thinking was a lot harder than actually gaining weight again. Even though I was at a healthier weight afterwards, I feel like those mental habits kind of lingered for quite a long time. And then with fitness, they kind of just died because I was like, I want to get a fat bum.
I think so, yeah, totally. And the two simply cannot coexist. And I think you become aware of so many more like aesthetics and sort of silhouettes and body shapes and that sort of thing.
It's a shame though that like media and what body shapes they promote, and that kind of becomes the trend. I feel like at the time for me, when I first started going to the gym, being like slim thick was the thing, which at that time, because of the circumstance that I was in, that I've just come out of anorexia, that was it kind of worked out for me, because I was like, I want to gain weight to look like them. But in hindsight, that's not a good thing to want to base yourself off a trend.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
And that is literally what you took the words out of my mouth. Like this idea that like your body is something that you will shift and change as if it's a trend. And, what happens with trends? They come in and out of fashion. So expect that sort of thing you're trying to conform and follow, the rest of sort of the society doing. It's like, it's a slippery slope. I see things online and I kind of wince, and I'm just like, ugh. Like there was obviously the was it the Grammys, and everyone started going crazy about Miley's arms.
And it was like,
so then everyone's
like flashing back to like 2010, where people were like glamorizing thigh gaps and thin arms and stuff.
Yeah, there's the leggings.
Legging legs.
Yeah,
I've seen that as well. Have you seen the thing about wanting to be like when you're working out and you wish that you were a yoga girl instead of a muscle mummy?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually kind of resonate with that sometimes. I'm like, I wonder what would happen if I was a Pilates girly instead. But as long as you're self-assured and you're self-confident, then you know that you're doing it.
Yeah, totally. It's hard because these things on social media, they prey on like our vulnerabilities, they know where to get you right in the core. And so it's just about being, I guess, more resilient and self-aware. Seems like you have quite a lot of self-awareness,
Yeah.
Or try to.
You've got to be, otherwise if you start letting other things impact you, then it can really get you down. So as long as your like social circle are really strong and you're strong in yourself, then
yeah. What's one thing you wish people understood about you?
That's an interesting question.
I know. It's a good one to finish on.
So for all those haters out there. I think your words cannot affect me, because I know who I am. I know the message that I'm giving out. I'm self-confident. I'm self-assured. I'm not hurting anyone. I feel good. I'm giving out a positive message. I'm benefiting people, and no one's been harmed.
Absolutely. Where can people find you?
At MAYMAH.LIFTS on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Amazing. Maymah, I love you. And thank you so much for coming. You so are nice. Amazing, and you're such an inspiration, and I hope you never stop kind of doing what you're doing, because
worry. When you start deadlifting, I'll start deadlifting too. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're in this together.
I'll hold you to it. Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to give us a follow if you are listening on Spotify, and a subscribe if you're listening on Apple or watching on YouTube. You can find us at Gym Girls Locker Room on Instagram and Facebook, and we look forward to seeing the next one. Bye.